Welcome back to Waiting for the O's. I'm Alicia. I love the Olympics and I want to lose 50 pounds before I attend the 2028 Games.
And I'm Savannah, and I love hearing Alicia talk about the Olympics. And I also want to lose some pounds before she goes to see the Olympic Games.
And I love that because we're in it together. We may not be going to the Olympics together, but we are in this together. And I appreciate that.
Of course, I love it.
Yeah. All right. Before we hop into today's topic, I got to tell you, my friend Amy watched our episode from last week
Nice.
and she had some feedback.
Oh, okay. I'm
Yeah.
open to feedback.
Uh yeah. Nope, not that type of feedback.
Oh, okay.
She was listening to what we were saying and it triggered something in her mind. And not like a trigger warning, like we don't need
Okay,
to,
okay. I was worried.
worry about that, but it just made her remember something. And so apparently there is like a BBC series, and I'm not sure how old it was because I wasn't familiar with it,
Okay.
but it focuses on, like, I guess, solving cold cases, you know? And first off, let me pop quiz. Do you remember what we call a rugby field?
It was called The Pitch, right?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
So I want you to keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay, so on this show, one of the cold cases was referred to as the donkey pitch murders. Can you believe it?
Oh, man. See, I knew the donkeys would be a theme.
You knew it. You knew. I mean, we can't
I
get away
really
from
love the
them.
donkeys. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Fortunately, in the donkey pitch murders, because of course I Googled it immediately after Amy told me, it was, well, okay, now I feel bad about the way I phrased that. But it, no donkeys were murdered. Yeah, it's actually much worse because humans were murdered.
Did they use the donkeys to murder people? Like, did they
No,
ride the donkeys and go whoosh, whoosh, kind of like, I don't know, in the Purge or like Gladiator times or something?
no, although now I'm picturing like Babe Zaharias and her baseball team riding donkeys with their baseball bats and going around clubbing people in the head. No, that's not what it was. Apparently, and also
Oh,
I just
okay.
wanna, this is all
Oh,
fictional,
okay,
but
okay.
it was the location where these two fictional teenage characters were murdered. It was called Donkey Pitch. Um, which I don't know why it was named that, and apparently nobody else does either because my Google just led to a bunch of, like, like Reddit, things, and
Yeah,
like also being like, what is a donkey pitch,
yeah.
and about like how confusing it was for all of the fans. But you know what? We're not confused at all because obviously the
Yeah.
donkeys are where it's at.
I am very familiar with donkeys and pitches. So,
I almost thought you were going to say donkeys and murder. And I was going to be a little uncomfortable. So I'm glad that it turned out to be the pitch that you were talking about.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So another fun thing about today's Olympian, well, okay, I think it's interesting,
Okay.
um, is in this room. I've already pointed out my framed photo of Babe Diedrichson Zaharias.
Right.
So in
Good
this
old babe.
room, I have a total of four photographs of Olympians framed on
Oh, okay.
display in this room. The interesting thing is that I have Babe,
Uh
I have Mary Lou Retton,
huh.
I have Ilona Mar, and
Yeah.
I have today's Olympian,
Oh,
which,
nice.
Yeah, which I think maybe a lot of people listening would be like, well, obviously Alicia is picking the Olympians and she just picked all of her favorites because she's got their pictures and she's obsessed. And that is partially true. But
Yeah, of course.
actually, I had a whole different Olympian picked out for today. Um, I really have not been going in order of photographic displays that I have. Um, but I realized that Ted Lasso is back. Have you ever watched Ted Lasso?
I haven't. I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it.
So it's a phenomenal TV show. I cannot recommend it enough. I don't know how it, measures up to Donkey Pitch Murders, but I can say that Ted Lasso is an amazing show. And so the premise of Ted Lasso is that it is a coach from Kansas who coaches American football. It's important to say American football because he gets hired to coach football in England. And of course,
Okay.
everywhere else in the world, football is soccer.
Right.
And so that sort of is the premise, and sort of some hijinks ensue, if you will. It's actually a very heartwarming show. It had 3 seasons and then it ended, and that's been some years ago, and it's back, and it's back.
Oh,
It
cool.
just came back, and for a season 4. And what's really cool is that season 4 has him coming back to coach the women's team.
Ah, haha, nice. What a
Yeah,
coincidence.
I know. So it fits in perfectly with what we talk about. Even though I had already chosen someone, and obviously we have I mean, every week we're going to be
Yeah,
talking about someone. So we'll get to
we have
all the
time.
folks. Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, I have to pick a soccer player this time, and
Yeah.
so I did.
Okay.
And you know what, I got to say, and, if you disagree, you disagree. That's fine.
Okay.
I have to say, in my opinion, soccer athletes are like the coolest. Like,
They're
I
pretty
don't
cool,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, they're super cool. Like, they just always seem like
Like,
the cool, like, yeah. And so I actually kind of struggled thinking about, which one to choose, because there are so many that I love. But when it came down to it, there is one player who is so iconic that it had to be her, that we
okay.
that we talk about. And obviously we'll talk about her career and how amazing it was, but the thing is, there is a photograph of her, and yes, it is the one I have framed in this room. That is considered to be the most iconic photo of women's sports ever.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and it is an amazing photo. And for those of you who don't already know, and Savannah, I'm guessing that you probably don't know, but who
I don't
I
think I do.
am talking about is Brandi Chastain.
I do not know Brandy in real life or otherwise. No. No, I haven't heard of her.
Yeah, and that's okay, because that's what
Yeah.
we're going to talk about. We're on this journey together, and part
Yeah.
of it is that you get to hear me talk about all of these people, and some of them you've heard of, and
Yeah.
some of them you haven't.
Got to build my Olympic knowledge.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go ahead and point out that this will be the second Brandi C that I am introducing you to.
That is a true statement. I
Yes.
love the original Brandi C is Brandi Carlile, is your
Yes.
favorite. Can I say favorite?
Yes.
Your
Yes.
favorite musical artist, and I have also fallen in love, so I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Savannah and I have actually taken road trips that we have called Brandy or Bust. And Savannah doesn't even like going to concerts, but she makes the exception for Brandi Carlile.
I do. I do.
Yeah.
It's been really fun. Yeah.
Yeah. But we're going to talk about the other Brandi C. We're going to talk about Brandi Chastain. And what is really cool about her, some of it has to do just with sort of like when she played. And I say that because it's like she has been a part of like all of the firsts and like
Mm.
a lot of these sort of like pivotal moments in specifically in women's soccer, but in women's sports in general. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is she played in the very first women's World Cup.
Oh, wow.
She played in the very first Olympics that featured women's soccer.
That's cool.
She played in the very first women's professional soccer league here in the States.
Okay, that's impressive.
And then when that soccer league went away and a new soccer league began, she played in that one too. And she was 40 by that point.
She was 40?
She was 40. She was
I'm
40
tired.
playing professional soccer here in the States.
That's wild. That is truly. I'm exhausted thinking about it.
Yeah, and she did well. Like it's not like she was huffing and puffing. No, she was freaking doing it.
Yeah.
Uh and she also is a founder of one of the women's professional teams. Like she's a part owner.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it again, like I said, it's sort of this like the timing, but also just because she's amazing, but she's been a part of it all. Which
Yeah.
again is, what makes her so iconic. Now in the Olympics, so she is actually a three-time Olympian. She
Okay.
has two golds and a silver. But she's more well known for the World Cup,
Mm.
which in the world of soccer, the Olympics are, of course, a big deal, but for whatever reason, they're not as big of a deal as the World Cup. Like the World
Yeah.
Cup is the thing. Um, so again, super cool that she was in the very first World Cup. That was in '91, and Team USA won the championship,
Woo woo.
which of course is awesome.
Yeah.
Um, Now, before we get into more of it, let's take it back a little bit. How she got started in soccer. She started playing as a kid. I started playing as a kid. I played soccer from like preschool all the way to eighth grade. Like me, she played with the boys. Again,
Yeah.
I think women of a certain age, that's something that we're all going to have in common, just because
Yeah.
girls' sports wasn't a thing.
Yeah.
Um, so she got started playing with the boys, and then she played in college. She was freshman player of the year, but then like I guess she blew out both of her knees, had to have ACL surgery on both knees, so she misses the next two seasons and then transfers to another school, starts playing again. Once again, is like player of the year. She wins like this like Honda Sports Person of the Year. I mean, like all the awards. Like she's racking up all the awards. Um uh and which is, pretty amazing, again, coming back from double knee surgery
Yeah.
to not having to hobble around, but to still be just such a force. Um, and a lot of people don't know this, and unfortunately, she has been plagued with injuries throughout her career. Those two knee surgeries were not her only knee surgeries by a
Ugh.
long shot. Um, but a lot of people don't know this, but you think about sports injuries, and your mind immediately goes to American football,
Yeah.
or rugby. But actually, soccer is, I think it's still like the top injury sport that there is.
Oh,
Um, and a lot of it is this knee injuries and ankle injuries is because you're like running fast and then you're cutting over to
yeah.
change directions and everything. Um, so yeah, it's actually there's a lot of injuries and Brandi Chastain has had just about all of them. But there are also collisions, so it's not just your knees, it's not just your ankles or whatever. So one other really cool thing about Brandi Chastain is that she has already said that when she passes, which hopefully will not be for a very long time, um, that she is donating her brain to science specifically so they can do concussion research.
Oh, that's cool.
I know, right? Because I mean, let's face
Yeah.
it, there's only so much we can learn when the brain is in your skull,
Yeah.
right?
That is true.
Um,
Yes.
yeah, so she's actually very outspoken about concussions and she's coaching now, and one of her focuses is, particularly with younger players, is to teach them about biomechanics and basically how to play the right way so that you don't
Yeah.
get injured. Although she's very outspoken about like you still go all out, like you put
Yeah.
it all out on the line, but you just do it the right way.
Yeah.
Um, and so again, she's learned a lot playing through all of that. And so then she's still just like dominating. So I already mentioned the first ever Women's World Cup. That was in '91. Um, she, for whatever reason, didn't get called up to the next World Cup, which I don't know. But again, given that she has been plagued with injuries, it could have very well been that she
Yeah.
was out due to an injury. But then she comes back for the 1999 World Cup,
Okay.
and the '99 World Cup, Women's World Cup, is like it was like lightning in a bottle. For women's soccer, for soccer in general, specifically in the states, and for just for women's sports
Yeah.
in general. So it was actually held here in the states, and so that's why it's kind of a big thing for for it turned out to be a big thing here in the states because just like we talked about last week with rugby, soccer wasn't the most popular sport here in the states.
Yeah.
And when the Women's World Cup came, quite frankly, the promoters were nervous for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's soccer, and they just didn't know if there would be a fan base. Number
Yeah.
two, it's women's sport, and of course, who's gonna show up to watch
Who's
some
gonna
girls
watch
run
women?
around? Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the good news is that those worries turned out to be unfounded, and like fans showed up in droves. I mean, the stadiums
Good.
were packed. Um, like I think the biggest crowd was like 90,000 people.
Oh, I mean, yeah. That's good.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're talking huge, huge, huge numbers. And so it showed that, yes, there are soccer fans in the United
Yeah.
States, but then it also showed that people will watch women play sports and they will cheer and they will go crazy. And then one of the most beautiful things that was happening is all of these young girls were showing up at the stadiums. And I mean, they like brought scrapbooks that they had put together, of course, hoping to meet the players, maybe get autographs. And I mean, they were like their heroes. And there had never really been an opportunity like that for young girls before.
Yeah.
Uh, so I mean, it was amazing. So it turned out this sort of World Cup ended up being very pivotal for women's sports, because it kind of brought up some of the conversations about gender equality and expectations and things like that, and then also just was proof that
Yeah.
people would show up. Um, Now there's more to this World Cup, and
Okay.
specifically with Brandi Chastain.
Okay.
So, going in, Team USA was not the favorite, but it was a good team, and so we were expected to do well, just not the favorite. But so we're winning, things are going well. I think in the first match, and again, butterflies playing on home field in front of the biggest crowd anyone had ever played in front of. I think we won 5-0 the very first game.
Oh,
So
wow.
off to a great start. That really kind of bolsters the old ego and confidence and everything. So things really start to click, right? Well, so they're making it through, and then they get to a match against Germany, which I believe was the semifinals, which is right
Okay.
before the finals. And it was like a tough, tough, tough match, right? And it stayed scoreless for a while. Um, and then Brandi Chastain scored
Oh, great.
on our own goal.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Not the best. Now, I'm guessing you're probably not super familiar with the sport of soccer. So it is very, very common in soccer for a defender to pass the ball back to the goalie, because then the goalie can actually pick it up. There's a lot more control there. Then you can kind of go on the offensive a little bit more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so this is very, very common. And so they're playing, and it was a good moment to pass back to the goalie. But the problem is Brandi did not communicate. She didn't make eye contact with the goalie.
Oh.
And for whatever reason, the goalie just wasn't expecting it. And so the ball just goes past, goes into the net, and that does count as a point for Germany.
That sucks.
Yeah. So, as you can imagine, she's devastated, right?
Oh, yeah.
But this team was such a close knit group of women. They all had each other's backs. Um, that one of the captains immediately went up to Brandi and was like, "It's fine. We're gonna win. It's fine. Don't even worry about it. Like, let's just move on." And like really like took control and was just like, "Just forget about it. We're gonna do this." Um, the goalie, who I mean, let's face it, probably was not thrilled that this had just happened.
Yeah.
She has since in interviews, come out and said she was like, I didn't say anything, because you see it happening all the times where players turn on each other even when they're on the same team.
Yeah.
She was like, I wasn't about to do that because that's my teammate, and quite frankly, like
Yeah.
we still need to keep playing. Like we got to come back and win this. So it was really, really cool to see that the entire team was just like, we're moving forward. Like it happened,
Yeah.
but we're moving forward. And for the record, because again, that is a very common play, to pass back to the goalie. It's not like this was the first time that this has ever happened. Like it happens in
Oh, yeah, I'm
sport soccer,
sure.
right?
Yeah.
Now, not necessarily usually in a World Cup semifinal game,
Yeah.
but it does happen. And so they focus on moving forward. Fortunately, we came back, and in fact, I believe that Brandi scored a late match goal and sort of like redeemed herself,
Oh,
which
nice.
is great. And so that was fantastic. But it's and you may be wondering, like, why am I bringing this up? Like, we're talking. We typically try to like build people up, but I do think that it's important because sometimes we make mistakes, and the
Oh,
important
yeah.
thing again is how the entire team rallied around her, and then
Yeah.
how she was able to kind of pick herself back up and move forward. And this becomes very important in the final match. Okay, so when the final comes down, it's USA versus China, and
Okay.
goes through the entire game, and I believe it's 0-0. So we go into overtime,
Okay.
and still tied at the end of the extra minutes, and so then it goes into a penalty shot, um, like sort of showdown. Um, and are you familiar with what a penalty kick is in soccer?
Like kinda, but not super.
Yeah. So it's basically like a one-on-one sort of showdown where it's
Okay.
one player who has the ball in directly in front of the goal and the goalie. And in fact, nobody else
Okay.
can even be near. They have to be at midfield. They can't even
Oh, okay.
be close. So it's like it. I mean, very much so like a pressure cooker, which of course, you're talking about elite sports and almost everything involved
Well,
in
yeah.
elite sports can be called a pressure cooker, but this for sure. Now, the favor is heavily in the shooters, favor. Like that's
Yeah.
they're in the better position because you've got this whole big goal and a goalie. There's only so much reaction time. In fact, there's really no reaction time. It's more you're just deciding I'm going to go this way. And so, in fact, a lot of goalies say that they're trying to read the body language like before the kick even happens. So it's going and each team is taking their kicks and everything and uh our goalie actually blocks one of their kicks. So then we come up and all of our so it's five kicks that are happening and Brandi Chastain was number 5. So it comes down to her. If she makes it, we win the freaking World Cup. uh,
Okay.
Now, just recently she has made a huge mistake and scored on her own goal. You got to figure that is somewhere in her mind.
Yeah.
2 months prior, Team USA went up against China in another tournament that came down to penalty kicks. Brandi, facing that same goalie, missed her kick.
Oh
She bounced it
no.
off the crossbar. So that's possibly in her mind.
Yeah.
Then, what's really interesting is the coach was like, hey, when you take your penalty kick, I want you to take it left footed. Now, obviously, if you're a soccer player and you're at this elite level, you could use both of your feet. But she was predominantly right
Yeah.
footed, which for
Yeah.
me, I'll tell you right now, I can do stuff with my right hand and my right foot. If I try to do anything with my left hand or my left foot, it's just not happening. It's just
No, no,
not
it's same.
happening. And again, you're going into this pressure cooker situation, and then you're going on your, I don't want to say her weak leg. Let's say less dominant, maybe,
Yeah, yeah.
because I mean, like both of her feet are dominating, right? Um, so all of this is happening, right? Um, and I'm sure you can tell where I'm going with this.
I think so and I hope so.
Yes, you are correct. We're going in a positive direction.
Okay, good.
Brandi picks the shot and makes it, wins the World Cup, and in
Woo!
that moment, so this becomes the iconic moment, and this is where the photo gets taken. Is that in her elation, she rips her shirt off and is like, woo! She falls to her knees and is just like,
Yeah.
yes, and I mean, just pure joy,
Oh, I
elation,
can only
you know,
imagine.
yeah,
Yeah.
everything, right? And again, that photographer, I'm sure, I don't know if he's ever taken another photo in his life. It wouldn't matter after this point because I don't know if you can top that shot. Like it was the perfect moment, the perfect timing, the perfect angle, like everything.
Like he lucked
Um,
out to have that. I'm sure there was skill involved on his end too, but
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then that is one of those photos that a photographer could just hang their hat on
Oh
for
yeah.
the rest of their life.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, I got that photo, framed in this room,
Yeah.
and so people are still buying it today. Um, And this was back in '99. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's been a
Wow.
moment. But anyway, so soccer typically is not a very high scoring game. And so one
Right.
of the things that I love about soccer is that when someone makes a goal, there's typically some pretty good celebrating. So what
Yeah.
she did was very common. Uh, and in fact, at that time, it was very just run of the mill in men's soccer that you score, you take your shirt off, and like it's just like very, very
Yeah.
normal. Like this is just a
Yeah.
thing that people do. But again, I said that that was very normal for men's soccer. Well, guess what? Brandi Chastain is a woman. And so, of course, if a woman tries to do something, it has to be like just scrutinized. And so it ends up becoming this huge, huge, huge thing. Um, and and now, of course, she did have a sports bra on.
Oh, yeah, I assumed there was some
Yeah.
coverage. Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, that's something that the two of you have in common. You take your trash out with your sports bra. She celebrates soccer with a sports bra.
No
Um,
big deal. No big deal.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Now, the difference between you and Brandi Chastain is that her sports bra was hanging in a museum for a while.
It could happen to me too, Alicia.
It could. It could. So you might want to hang
Not for
on to
taking
it.
out the trash, probably.
Well, you never know. You never know. But yeah,
You never know.
that's how big this moment became. Is that
That's
her
wild.
bra gets put in a freaking museum?
That's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah. So the I'm gonna go ahead. It's kind of a spoiler, I guess, but the cool thing is, it has become this iconic thing. At the moment,
Yeah.
it was very controversial. So
Ugh.
you had the people like me, like I remember when it happened, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I thought it was so cool. And again, I didn't see anything weird about it because this was like normal soccer celebration, and to
Yeah.
me, it was just this pure joy moment. But then you had other people who were like, "Oh, she was trying to be sexual." And it's like, "What are you even talking
Yeah.
about?" Like,
That's what she cares about in that moment. Ooh, look at my sports bra. Like,
yeah,
come
I
on.
mean, come on. And then it gets even weirder. So you have some people who, so it was a Nike sports bra, and so you could see the
Okay.
swoosh. And so some people were like, Nike planned this whole thing. Like, and it's just a money ploy, a marketing ploy, and it's like, yeah, okay, we like organized this whole thing. China was in on it too. We're gonna
The
go,
win and all.
yeah. I mean, like, just so crazy. But then some people were like, oh, well, she did it because she wanted to get a Nike deal. Which again, in the moment of
Yeah.
you just want just being like, oh, this I could make money off of. Like,
It could
no.
have been a Reebok bra. She just happened to choose the Nike one that day.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's just so crazy.
Wow.
And then of course, there are people who thought that she did it to take the focus away from the rest of the team. That she
Oh my
wanted
gosh.
all the focus on her and her sports bra, and she was the glory hound. And it's like,
Well, I guess it worked if her sports bra is in a museum.
yeah, her plan actually
All
came
along.
together. Yes.
She
Uh,
visits it every day.
yes. And so it just is so strange because again, it was very commonplace for men, but as soon as a
Yeah.
woman does it, it becomes this huge conversation, which in the end turned out to be fairly positive because
Yeah.
it forced people to then question like, why is this a thing? And
Yeah.
you know,
To
like
actually
it
have a conversation about it.
yeah, and about gender
Yeah.
equality and all sorts of things. And so it really became this iconic moment, not only because it was captured on film so beautifully, but also because it created all of these important
Yeah.
conversations. And it is so iconic that not only do we have the picture, but it's also she's been turned into a bronze statue
Oh, wow.
at the stadium. Yeah. Because again, it's really seen as this pivotal moment in women's sports.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, just amazing. Now, here's where it again is interesting because Nike obviously saw an opportunity, which is where some of those conspiracy theorists go. But I'm sorry, I can't blame a company for being like, "Hey, this we got to capitalize
Yeah,
on this."
exactly. Yeah,
That's just good business right there.
exactly.
Um, but so they made it like a commercial
Okay.
with Brandi Chastain, and I rewatched it in preparation for this episode, and it is kind of a humorous ad, and I get that that's what they're going for. Um, and I remember the ad from back in the day, and I at the time I don't remember anything really sticking out to me. I mean, I got that it was humor, but this time around I was like, ooh, I don't think I don't think that would get made today.
Oh, really?
So yeah, the premise is that she's like playing foosball
Okay.
with a basketball player, actually, I believe, and then two other guys who I don't think were athletes or famous,
Uh,
but I apologize to them if they were, and I just don't know who they are. Um,
uh,
but anyway, so it's Brandi Chastain and three guys playing foosball, and she scores, and then it's like the three guys just freeze and start to sort of like ogle her, and she was "Eh, like what?" Now, I do want to say that everyone in the ad played their roles very well. So kudos to them. And it's not their fault that it has not aged well and probably shouldn't have even been made at the time. But so yeah, here they are sort of like ogling her, and she's like what is the deal? And then finally they're like "Well, what's the deal with your shirt? You know, like so basically they're like, why aren't you taking your shirt off? And it's very problematic. Like I said, I don't think the ad would be made today, even though they were trying, to bring humor into it. But
yeah, I get where they were going with it, but also kind of creepy.
yeah, very creepy. It's like they're,
Yeah.
I mean, like and it was like a moment of them like, which is I don't like the fact that it sort of reduces men to just these like drooling idiots. But then obviously more near and dear to my heart is that I feel like it's very reductive to women as well.
Yeah.
And then
That's all we're
like
good for is taking our tops off.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's like again, even though it's all like fake, of course,
Well, yeah.
but in my mind, I'm like, is the premise that they invited her because they were expecting her to take her top off? Because that's
Ew.
creepy,
It
you
is
know?
creepy.
Yeah.
Ew, yeah.
And then it also makes me call into question, did they let her score?
Ew, yeah, they lost on purpose just to see her take her shirt off.
Yeah.
I
And then I'm
mean,
like,
ugh.
yeah, I don't like it. And then it's also like, Brandi Chastain might be the top foosball player in the world, but I will never know because I'm
We'll never
always
know.
going to question whether or not they did it on purpose. So
Yeah.
I'm sure she is phenomenal at foosball because she's phenomenal in everything that we've
Yeah.
talked about so far. But it bothers me. It really does. It bothers
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. When you think about it a little too long, it's yeah. It's creepy on its surface, but then giving it a little extra thought, it's real creepy.
Yeah, the more you think
Yeah.
about it, the creepier it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so again, it really did become this moment, and even talking about this ad, it is an interesting thing because I think that we have to challenge ourselves and others to think about things,
Yeah.
and then of course have the conversation. So, um, super iconic, and really cool that Brandi Chastain has been a part of these really pivotal moments. She's in the Soccer Hall of Fame, of course. I mean, like she was named, like they kind of, this has been several years ago, but every so often it's like if you could they put together like a super team of like all
Yeah.
time. She made that team, of course.
Oh, cool.
And so yeah, just super cool. I think I mentioned that she's coaching now, and this was just announced a few weeks ago. One of her dreams is starting to come true. She's always wanted to teach, or not teach, but well, I mean, yes, teach, but coach
Yeah, teach.
at the national level. And the U.S. national team, the youth team, the organization called her and wants her out of the training camp. And so
Oh,
hopefully
cool.
hopefully that's going to be something, because then she's going to continue shaping this sport, continue, instilling, these good values of how to play
Yeah.
properly, and just always being a part of soccer in general, but specifically women's soccer, and specifically here in the States. So really cool that she's always it just seems like she's like always a key
Yeah.
part of each one of these things.
Yeah.
Now, I mentioned that she's been plagued with injuries, and so I
Yeah.
think that's something else to really take into account. And then also again thinking about her in that moment of with the penalty shot, facing a goalie that she had missed against recently, right off the heels of scoring on her own goal. One thing that I think is really cool is that obviously in interviews, people have asked, like, "Oh, well, were you thinking about that penalty kick that you missed? Were you thinking about that goal?" And she was like, "No, like I was focused on what I was doing there,
Yeah.
in the moment." And so I think that that's important. Um, but she's also said, like with injuries, that she's learned to be patient. And you gotta imagine that someone like Brandi Chastain probably is not patient just like naturally, because you're always
Yeah.
go go go. And
Yeah.
so she said that it's forced her to learn patience, and really to listen to her body,
Yeah.
and sort of to give herself some grace, because you can't look at it like your body has let you down. You have to look at it more like you're here to take care of your body.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that that's something that I have to learn as well, because right now I'm really having to be patient with myself, because I had another weigh in, of course, in preparation for today, and it was not a good one. And I was expecting that, but it's still not pleasant. But I have had a very stressful week with work, like
Yeah.
very stressful. And the unfortunate thing is that I have one go-to coping mechanism, and it's food.
I
Um,
think it is for a lot of us, so I get it. Yeah.
yeah, and so I have been coping a lot this week, and uh, so I knew that the weigh-in wasn't going to be good.
Yeah.
I put on a few pounds. Now, where I'm trying to be patient with myself is to recognize that this is a moment that I'm having, and yes, I need to get better at like I need to have healthier coping mechanisms, but this is what I'm doing now, and that doesn't mean that next week I'm going to be in the same position. Like next
Yeah.
week, I could get back on track, and things could be good, because it becomes very easy to be like, well, I've already done this, so I
Oh, yeah.
may as well just give up. And so I'm trying to be patient with myself to say, you're in this moment, but you're going to get out of this moment.
That's good. Yeah.
And yeah, and one thing that I have done this week that I actually think is improvement over how I've done these things in the past, because obviously I've always turned to food for coping mechanism and for every other aspect of my life. Um, but it becomes easy to be like, well, I have already eaten this, so I may as well keep eating poorly, or
Yeah,
I may as well not do anything healthy, and
yeah.
because it's like, well, this day is already gone, so may as well just not even
Start
try.
tomorrow or start Monday or start next week or whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I have done this week, and I'm kind of proud of myself, is I recognized that I was in this position where I was turning to food, and so I said, okay, I'm gonna allow this. I'm gonna be okay with this, but if I'm doing this, I need to still stick with other things. So I've made sure every single day I've gotten my 10,000 plus steps.
That's
Um,
great. Yeah.
and that also has actually become a very cathartic thing for me because I've been working some long hours, and one of the things I've always been bad about is kind of like knowing when to stop and step away. But because I have said I have got to get these steps in every evening, I have taken a break to go for a walk, and that helps me step away and get out of that stressful situation that I'm dealing with. And
Yeah.
so it's been good for a couple of different reasons. And then the other thing, and I haven't talked about this yet, but I've been doing intermittent fasting. Are you familiar with intermittent fasting?
Yeah, I have a pretty good idea about it.
Yeah. So there are different ways to do it, but the most popular one is what I'm doing, which is um, 16 hours out of the day you don't eat. So you only eat 8 hours out of the day, and it's the same
Okay.
8 hours. And so my sort of eating window is 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
And so I have stuck with that. And let me tell you, especially because I'm working these long hours and stuff, and I'm sitting at my desk sometimes. Still, it's midnight, and I'm sitting at my desk, and
Yeah.
you really want a snack while you're doing that. But I said no. I'm gonna at least stick with the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
And the intermittent fasting is kind of interesting because I don't really know if there's benefits that I'm reaping from it or not. Um, the idea behind it is that it can help speed up your metabolism. I don't know how to check that, so who knows?
Yeah. I don't know.
And that it's also supposed to help you help you burn stored fat instead of like I guess
Just what you've
what
just
you just
consumed.
eat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, And again, I don't know how to tell if that's working or not. And through all of this, I'm consistently like questioning, am I even doing anything that's worthwhile? And so I've Googled it, I've asked different AI things, and I have to say one that I appreciate the most, one of the AIs that I asked was about, intermittent fasting and like, is it really actually beneficial? Is I feel like this was the most honest answer that I've gotten, and it was like, well, the main benefit is that you typically eat fewer calories because you can only eat those 8 hours.
Well, that's what I was going to say. It feels like, if nothing more, if you're, from 6 to midnight, you might normally be like, ooh, I'll have a little snack or a bigger
Yeah,
snack or whatever, and you're not doing that anymore. Well, there's a little
exactly.
bit of a deficit if that's all you're getting.
Yeah. So I do think that that has helped, and
Yeah.
particularly this week, because here's the thing. I love my sugary stuff, so I have had some ice cream. I also have to admit I'm a big Ted Lasso fan, and one of the things in Ted Lasso is biscuits with the boss, and he bakes these shortbread cookies, and he takes it to his boss every morning, and it's a whole thing. So a company partnered with Ted Lasso, and they came out with shortbread cookies, biscuits with the boss, and I bought some, and I have eaten them. Um, Well, when you eat the sugary things, it just makes you want to eat more.
Yeah.
Like, when you're eating healthier food, you're actually getting more satisfied, and
Oh yeah.
it doesn't really prompt you to keep eating. But sugar, it's very well known is that sugar makes you want to keep eating more sugar.
Yeah.
So the fact that I have been able to say it's past 6, and even though I still see that box of shortbread cookies that I haven't finished, and I want one, I'm not going to do it because it's after 6.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Listen,
So
you
I
take the
have
wins where you can get them, and that sounds like a win to me.
exactly. And so even though I know, like I said, I need to figure out, healthier
Yeah.
coping mechanisms, but I can tell you right now, the fact that I am stepping away to take a walk, the fact that I'm still committed to getting 10,000 plus steps, and the fact
Yeah.
that I'm sticking with the intermittent fasting, those are all improvements from where I've been in the past. So
Yeah.
I'm actually, again, I'm being patient with myself and realizing that I knew that I was going to gain this week. But if I just wait a little bit, I get out of this sort of hump that I am, working with, or hurdle, if you will.
Hate those
Uh,
hurdles, man.
I know. Oh man, they're getting over them is so much.
Right?
It's exactly why in the past I used to run up and say, "Nope, not even gonna
Nope.
try it." At least now I'm like,
But
"Here's a
now you're
hurdle."
trying it. You're facing
Exactly.
it, and you're like,
Yes.
bam, hurdle. You're not even jumping it. You're just going bam right to it. Unless jumping's better, then you can jump it. I don't really know. I would
Well,
slam it,
jumping
but
is the point.
oh, okay.
So
Well, then
yeah,
you're like
but
do 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 do, and then woo instead of like nope. You know?
well, you know what I running through it might be more accurate because again I'm still eating the bad stuff. So maybe I'm not
But I
exactly
think
gliding it.
it's really great that you've sort of recognized that already, because the thing is it is lifestyle change of, as we've spoken about. It's not a diet. It's not just trying to like crash course, get into it, lose some weight, and then like gain it all back. And life happens sometimes, and it's not always good. And so it's great that like, listen, this is my coping mechanism now. Maybe not always, but it is now. I'm going to ebb and flow in my weight and my lifestyle and all the things, and I have a base to come back to. And it sounds like you have a pretty solid base that you're coming back to, even if you're having some shortbread cookies and ice cream. Because let me tell you, if I had ice cream in my freezer, I'd be eating it. I just don't have any right
Well, yeah, baby's got base. Okay.
now. Oh man. Yeah. I'm glad
um.
baby has base.
Yeah. Yeah. I know, but yes, I thank you for that because I do feel
Yeah.
like it is a good thing, and so I'm embracing
Yeah.
that. Um.
As you should. Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you have any updates that you want to share?
I I did lose some pounds.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I can't help but think, like, let's say I'm 100 pounds. I'm not 100 pounds, but let's just pretend.
Okay.
I mean, I would probably be very unhealthy if I was 100 pounds. But if I'm 100 pounds and I lose 5 and I get to like 95 and then 97 and then 100 and back to 97, in my brain, even though I've lost and gained and lost, nothing has changed. And so I had okay, stay with me. So I had
I'm with
lost
you.
some weight and I gained some of it back. I wasn't worried about it because, like I said, ebbs and flows. And then I lost it again. Well, I never counted that as a loss because I was like, I was already there. Well, I have gone now beyond that point. So I have officially dropped a few more pounds, which I'm excited about. I have also not gone outside half naked. And that is mostly because I don't think I've taken the trash out since the last time. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see if it
Yeah.
happens again. But I am much more confident in doing so should I need to go out in a sports bra.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
congratulations. I love that.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, just like you were telling me,
Yeah.
in the future, if you do go back up and then go back down, you still count that because it's still
Yeah. Yeah.
progress. But I'm
It
super
is.
excited that
Thanks.
you have
Yeah.
lost some.
Yeah.
And what I especially love is that I can actually tell that you're very happy about it.
I
And
am. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. Well, thanks.
Yeah.
So fingers
Um,
crossed we keep going down that road, even if it goes up and down. I'm okay with that. That's just the natural way of things. I've
yeah.
lived a lot of life, and I have seen it go up and down a million times. I would just like to have the main trajectory go down. You know?
Yeah. That's how
Yeah.
I feel too. And I think
Yeah.
that we're both going to make that happen, which
Oh
is
yeah.
great. Again, I think the important thing. Well, not only just celebrating Brandi Chastain for the icon that
Yeah.
she is, but also learning that patience that she talks about and applying that to our situations.
Oh yeah.
I also just want to give a quick shout out because I mentioned that 99 World Cup team was so close knit. They, really rallied around each other and everything. So much so that there is a movie coming out about them.
Oh.
So it's in post production now. I don't think that it has a release date, um, but it's called The 99ers. And I have to say, at least in terms of looks, they did a really good job of casting because I challenged myself. I pulled it up on IMDb
Uh
and
huh.
and I like covered the character names. I mean, the
Yeah.
people that they were playing,
Yeah.
portraying, and I was able to guess almost all of them.
Oh,
Like,
that's super cool.
yeah, so they did
Yeah.
a really good job of casting. Hopefully, they can act, and hopefully, they can play some ball.
uh,
Um, yeah, so that should be cool. Again, I have no idea when it's going to come out, but I'm pretty
yeah.
pretty stoked about that. The really cool thing is that one of the team members just always had a video camera, and so she had all of this footage,
Oh,
like
cool.
behind the scenes footage, and that's she gave that to the filmmakers, and so they're like really bringing this sort of like camaraderie and everything to life because they really got that behind the scenes look. So it
That's
should be
cool.
really good. I'm excited about it. But I'm also really excited about the progress that you're making. I'm excited, even though I'm not making progress on the scale right now, the progress that I've made in what I'm
Oh yeah.
practicing. And I'm excited about everyone who is joining us on this journey because you are helping us to move faster, to reach higher, to be stronger together. And with that, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.